Welcome to the Weekly Roar, coming live from the Lion's Den, helping new managers become great leaders and awesome bosses. And now, here's your host, Greg Storch.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Lion's Den. This is the Weekly Roar. My series called Effective Thinking, Your Pathway to Success continues today, and I'm going to talk about another skill that we can develop to help us become more effective thinkers. This one's about how we can identify the most direct path to achieving any objective. You're going to hear more about that in just a second. But first, I'm Greg Storch. I'm the owner of Lion Enterprise, a leadership development and coaching business, and the founder of a worldwide bartered coaching program called The Helping Hand. I'm a certified professional leadership coach and a certified leadership speaker and trainer. Now, last week, we came together in the Lion's Den and I spoke about how we can close the gap between what we dream of and the reality of our situations. By learning how to think more realistically, we're able to look at all the aspects of a situation before coming to a conclusion. And it's a great skill for leaders to have. Remember, you should spend some time assessing where you currently stand with these skills on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as your engagement in these types of thinking goes. Once you make that assessment, think about what actions you need to take that will move you from where you rated yourself to the next number on that scale. If you aren't sure what actions you might need to take, let's connect after this and just talk about how my coaching might help you address those issues. If you aren't sure about coaching and you're curious about what it would be like, I'm offering free 30-minute discovery sessions with me to find out what that's like. So think of it as test driving a new car. The link to my schedule is right here below. All right. Now, if you weren't able to join us last Wednesday for the Weekly Roar, or if you just want to catch up and watch that session over again, all you have to do is just head over to my website at lion-enterprise.com and click on the Lion's Pride Library menu to find video number 116 for last week. And while you're in the Lion's Pride Library, stick around and check it out. It's a free resource and it's a great way for you to get more of the roar. Okay, let's get this party started. Today's episode is called How Strategic Are You? Having spent almost 24 years in the military and also being deployed with the Marine Corps during Operation Iraqi Freedom, strategic thinking isn't something new to me. Great strategies win wars. But have you ever considered using strategic thinking outside of a professional setting to enhance your personal life? Typically, when someone uses the word strategic, it conjures up images of charts and graphs that forecast a company's rise to success. But when it comes to employing this skill for ourselves, we find that some people spend more time planning their family vacation than they do planning their own lives. So what exactly is strategic thinking? I happen to like the definition that came from the Center for Simplified Strategic Planning in a recent blog post titled Course and Direction: The Path to Strategic Success. The president and CEO, Robert Bradford, defined strategic thinking as a process that defines the manner in which people think about, assess, view, and create the future for themselves and others. Strategic thinking is an extremely effective and a valuable tool that can help us arrive at decisions that are related to our work life or our personal life. When we develop the skill to think more strategically, it allows us to get more efficient, to capitalize on our strengths, and of course, to find the most direct path toward achieving whatever objectives we set. If a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points, strategic thinking helps us not only identify the 2 points, where we are now and where we want to be, but also helps us anticipate the obstacles that may lie in the path of that line that connects the two. When it comes to strategic thinking in our personal lives, it's simply a methodical way of managing our lives by looking at our big picture and devising a plan of action that will make it come about. All it takes is a simple cycle, very similar to the plan, do, check, act system. Good strategy for accomplishing your ultimate big picture involves collecting information, performing an analysis on that information, executing some planning, taking action, and then receiving some feedback. Yes, it does take an effort, but the payoff is worth it. The increased probability of actually achieving the desired outcome far outweighs the effort required. So, why don't more people engage in a more methodical approach to their lives? Well, there are a lot of people out there who rely on routines that they don't question in order for them to function. They live life day to day and face the same problems every single day. They're always losing their keys. They're always getting stuck in traffic or dealing with the same bottlenecks at work. You get the picture. Strategic thinking takes energy and effort. Living a life around routine doesn't take any effort at all, and that's why it tends to be the default position for so many people. My move to Italy 2 years ago is a great example of strategic thinking. We didn't end up here in Vicenza just by luck. When we moved to Virginia in 2011, my wife and I discussed a big picture goal of returning to work in Europe. It took us 7 years to execute a 5-year plan, but we were very strategic about it. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's not very strategic if it took you 7 years to execute a 5-year plan. If I didn't know what I know about strategic thinking and planning now, I'd be thinking the same thing. But what I know now is that strategic thinking requires us to think about where we want to be in the future, and that vision should drive our actions today. It involves setting goals and developing flexible long-range plans to reach those goals based on an analysis of our internal and external environments. I know now that strategic thinking is not just about laying out a solid plan, but also being flexible when the unexpected inevitability occurs. And that's how a 5-year plan can take 7 years. So here's a few reasons why you might want to consider adopting strategic thinking as one of your tools to use in either your personal life, your professional life, or even both. First of all, strategic thinking helps us to keep it simple. When we think strategically, that helps us to look at long-term objectives and break them down into bite-sized chunks. It's what allows us to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Everything becomes simpler when there's a plan for it. And when it comes to our personal lives, it can help us make difficult things simpler by helping us to develop systems, which is really just good strategies continually repeated over and over again. Just about any difficult task can be made easier with strategic thinking. Another reason why you may want to consider developing the skill of strategic thinking is that it can be a useful tool to help us prepare today for the uncertainty of tomorrow. And nothing can reinforce that more than COVID-19. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, strategic thinking helps us close the gap between where we are now and where we want to be. It gives us the direction we need to take action today, and that increases our potential for success tomorrow. Strategy isn't a formula that's been written down for us to follow or found in the pages of a manual. While people spend their time looking for that secret strategy, they miss that the real secret is thinking strategically. And the last reason I want to share with you is that being a good strategic thinker helps us increase our influence with others. Despite what we're doing, whether it's something at work or in our personal lives, if you have a plan, you have the power. Strategic thinkers can develop those plans, and no matter what the scenario, the one with the plan is the one who everyone else wants to follow. My wife's a great planner, especially when it comes to planning vacations and travel. She's really detail oriented, and she spends a lot of time forecasting potential scenarios in order to be the best prepared during our trips. She'll look at road conditions if we're driving, and then she'll also check the forecast for the weather so we know what we're facing and how we're supposed to pack for the trip. Because of the reasons why she's such a great travel planner, when we travel with other people, they tend to look to my wife for the plan. I can't tell you how many times I've heard others ask her, "So what's the plan?" I've done it myself. And because of that, she tends to be able to follow the itinerary she wants, while the rest of us just follow. When you practice strategic thinking, others will listen to you and they'll want to follow you too. So, how do you know if you're a strategic thinker already or not? Well, here are a few comparisons of attitudes and actions that can help you to determine how strategic you think and areas that may need more work. So, if you're a strategic thinker, you'll tend to look towards and embrace the future. You work hard today under the belief that you'll reap the benefits tomorrow. You don't allow yourself to be restricted to best practices or only those methods that are tried and true. You're flexible in that you're willing to change an approach to a problem or a situation based on circumstances, even when they're changing. And you may be described as a creative person who thinks outside the box. Now, non-strategic thinkers, well, they tend to be reactive. They wait for guidance and they hardly ever present new ideas. They prefer the status quo and don't always take the time to think about long-term goals. They could be described as creatures of habits because they tend to approach all tasks the same way without being affected by urgency or impact. They can be described as predictable because they prefer to follow a set path. Regardless of where you might fall on that spectrum, let me share several ways that you can improve your strategic thinking skills. So, first, prioritize tasks. Go over your tasks and decide which ones can wait, and then brainstorm ideas that you can contribute to the success of your team, your family, your department, or even your organization. Always take action on the tasks that will provide the greatest benefits today and leave lesser tasks to do tomorrow. Ask yourself, what's that one task I can do today that will make all the other tasks on my list less important or even unnecessary? The second thing that can help improve your strategic thinking is to become more aware of bias. Everyone has biases, but you can actually take charge of your mind by being more critical of your thoughts and questioning them. Do you hold them because they're logical or because they've served you well in the past? Admitting to some flawed thinking doesn't diminish your ability to do your job. Actually, it makes you better at it because it helps you to be a better strategic thinker. Now, the third thing that you can do is improve your listening skills. Once you accept that your beliefs may contain flaws and take action to overcome them, the next step is to improve your listening skills. Talk to your family members, your neighbors, some coworkers or employees, and let their perspectives teach you new ways of thinking. Maintain an open mind and be receptive to feedback. And most importantly, evaluate everything you hear. After you work on improving your listening skills, the fourth thing you can do is hone your questioning skills. Strategic thinking requires you to question everything you see or everything you're told. Now, I'm not saying you should be cynical. It's not the same. When you work on getting better at questioning, you're collecting and weighing facts, not dismissing ideas or traditions. When you hear new ideas, stop and ask yourself if it's rational. Did it come from a credible source? And if there's any proof to support its value. Honing your questioning skills is as simple as just taking time to question something and understand why it's being proposed. Okay, and the fifth thing that you can do to improve your strategic thinking skills is to gain a better understanding of the consequences of your decisions. All decisions have consequences. We know that. After listening to ideas and points of view, you have to carefully consider the potential impact of each one. What are the pros and cons? Which one is most likely to help meet the goal? This step will help you make an informed decision, and over time, making the strategic choice will come naturally to you. So those were 5 things that you can start doing right now to help you develop the skill of thinking strategically. So again, they were 1, prioritize tasks. 2, become aware of biases you have. 3, improve your listening skills. 4, hone your questioning skills. And then last, number 5, understand the consequences of your decisions. Strategic thinking is a skill that helps us reach our goals, and it can be applied to virtually anything. It helps us to think in a more orderly way, but most of all, to think of the long term and what we want to achieve. You know, it can also enhance leadership. I was thinking, a leader who doesn't think strategically, they're just a cheerleader for operational efficiency. And if you have a strategic thinker who doesn't step into the space of leadership, well, that's what we call an analyst. Mastering the art of strategic thinking will do more than generate better ideas or improve your decision making. It helps us become better leaders. It helps protect us from uncertainties, and it gives us an optimal chance of achieving long-term success in life and business. So there you have it. That's the fifth skill that you can assess to improve and become a more effective thinker. So for your assessment here on strategic thinking, just ask yourself this simple question. Do my strategic plans provide the direction I need today and increase my potential for success tomorrow? Where are you with this one on a scale from 1 to 10? And what do you need to do to move one number closer to 10 from where you are right now? All right, next week, I am going to talk about the benefits that we can gain by simply using this style of thinking to imagine the possibilities. If you want to hear more about how to explore possibility thinking in your life, then just come on back to the Lion's Den and tune into the Weekly Roar next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, thanks everybody for supporting me today and jumping in the Lion's Den for the Weekly Roar. I appreciate it, and I love watching all of your comments and the dialogue happening here. So until we meet again, you guys, remember, be powerful, but stay poised just like a lion. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching the Weekly Roar live event at lionenterprise.com. If you enjoyed this video, please tell others to join us each week here in the Lion's Den. Thanks again, and see you next week.